Asian stocks then gaining today. Is there a sense that this can be sustained?
Well, it's a bit of a turnaround Tuesday, as you were saying there, but the conviction levels don't seem to be very high. If you look at the trading volumes, are not that great. And if you look at Japan, is doing slightly better, of course. It looks as though they're in the driving seat. They're possibly going to get a deal earlier with Donald Trump. But as you were saying earlier, China seems to be taking a much harder line, and that's reflected in what we're seeing in Hong Kong and Chinese equities today, although there are official support measures going on by the Chinese authorities. We've seen the PBOC announced earlier today it was going to provide more money for the ETF funds, which go directly into the market on behalf of the Chinese government. So that is happening, but still people are very, very cautious. As you say, we've seen some extraordinary moves, particularly over the past 3 trading sessions, and the rebounds today are nowhere near enough to put people on the situation to say, yes, this is a very strong rebound. We're very bullish now about the market. People are really holding back, and they're looking ahead to what's going to be a very difficult week. The mixed messages are coming out, whether or not there are going to be any concessions or not, whether there's any room for people to negotiate properly on this. And all in all, it's telling you that nobody here in Asia especially is really ready to say, okay, that's it, market is turning for the better. And of course, the big absence is movements from central banks. People are looking back to 2020 when the pandemic started, markets cratered, but central banks came in very quickly to provide high liquidity and to stimulate markets. That is not happening this time around. The Federal Reserve is noticeably taking a very cautious approach, and other global central banks are looking to them for leadership. That is not happening at the moment. The Federal Reserve is more interested in inflation concerns, and that is filtering through to financial markets. So for the time being, yes, we're seeing a reasonable amount of green. We are not seeing a high conviction that people think this is the turnaround that's going to set us back on a bull market.
OK, no high conviction, and we wait to see if the central banks are pulled from the sideline, as you say. To what extent could China look to the yuan, the currency, as a pressure valve as President Trump threatens additional 50% tariffs? So you're looking at 104% just in this current presidential term, of course, on Chinese goods. Is the yuan a pressure valve that China may reach for?
That certainly appears to be the signalling which is coming out from the central bank in China. Use this daily fixing to send their messaging to traders how they want them to perform in the yuan market. And it's been very clear over the past 3 days they've been moving that fixing towards a weaker currency. And then they're allowing their onshore currency to go a little bit weaker at the beginning, but then pull it back. So it's very clear that they're showing the world we can move this currency if we need to. We can move it in a direction which compensates for some of the tariffs we're expecting to see happen. It's very similar to 2018, 2019, when, as Donald Trump put tariffs during his first term, as the tariffs came on China, the yuan currency moved almost exactly in line with the degree to which the tariffs were being imposed on China. If there's anything like that this time, the yuan will weaken significantly, even though it's already relatively weak compared to the US dollar now. It looks as though it's very much a messaging that China is saying, look, we could make it much tougher for you by weakening our currency a long way. We're not doing it yet, but we're showing you we have the capability to do it. It's a bit of a cat and mouse game, but traders can see very clearly what is going on here. And at the moment, we're pretty close to the thresholds that would bring in a lot of people to say the yuan is becoming a bit of a one-sided view.